little page.
Hello, everyone. This is the Dendro Junkie Podcast, and I'm your host, Alex. I am coming at you from Reno, Nevada, with friends. Good lifelong friend, Madi. Madi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm hanging in there. And we also have Abby here. Abby, say hi.
Hi.
All right. Good. So today on the podcast, we don't really have any news today because it's Friday, so we're not doing that. So
at late 30 at night.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So I think we're just going to get into the plan of the day first thing, and then we're going to talk about agriculture versus forestry conservation.
Agriculture wins.
It's going to be a long conversation. Okay, so here we go. Plan of the day, we have big sagebrush because I wanted to do something native to Nevada, and there's not really any trees out here, so we're going to go with shrubs or something. So what we have here is the big sagebrush, also known as Artissima tridentata, commonly known as big sagebrush, giant basin sagebrush, or just sagebrush. It is in the Acer family, and it grows in semi-arid conditions through a range of cold desert, steppe, and mountain habitats, pretty much throughout the West, anywhere where there's mountains and there's a place to grow. This plant in itself is brush, as the name gives it away. It's a woody stem plant with small leaves. The flowers on it are a light yellow to white. They almost look like small ears or something like that. With the plant in itself, it ranges from 3 to 5 feet in width, and it doesn't really get that tall. It almost looks like it's gray or dying, but it's really not. It's a bluish green color, and it can be found all throughout Reno. So if you just head off 80 or 395 or wherever you're going, you can find it, and it'll be right there. So that is the plan of the day, real quick, because we have a big conversation coming up. So that's it. Go and find some big sagebrush if you're out in Nevada. And we're back with Madi and Abby, our unbiased third-party member for the argument tonight. Madi, you are talking about
Agriculture.
Yes,
okay. The importance of agriculture all across the nation. As you said earlier, Nevada does not have trees. This is why forestry conservation is not on the top priority list of what needs to be happening.
This is true. This is very true. So this episode tonight is just going to be me arguing with Madi. So if you don't want to listen to people fighting, just go ahead and skip and go to the next one. So first off, I just want to say that agriculture is obviously very important because somehow we have to feed ourselves and our lovely studio mascot, the hedgehog, Mr. Shadow. So we got to feed ourselves some way. So agriculture is obviously going to be on the top. But we also have to be very careful of what we do with the land we are given in this nation. So I believe that preserving some of it for future generations, for recreational use, possible industrial use, anything worth having, I believe that forestry is going to be very, very important in conserving it in large swaths of land, public land, forests, deserts, wherever we got. I believe we should leave a little bit around for kids and grandkids.
Well, Alex, I'm certainly not arguing that we should go out and burn down all of our forests across the nation. I am 100% sure.
Okay.
Because trees are beautiful, and they're great sources of oxygen, because that's what they do. But agriculture is much more valuable in every household. You can argue that every house needs to eat. Not every house needs to go to the forest to have a picnic.
Okay, that's true.
Agriculture is much more than just growing corn in your backyard. It's everything from the clothes that you wear, from the wool and the sheep and the livestock and all the animals that produce the food, as well as everything horticulture and food related.
Okay. Now, what about the massive amounts of pollution caused by our industrial agricultural system?
You can argue that in any industrial system.
I'm just trying to get hippie with it, okay?
You're getting hippie with it. That pollution is necessary in order to sustain ourselves.
Sorry, we got dogs fighting. No, we're not Michael Vick. They're just having a good time. Abby, what do you want to say about this? What are you thinking, feeling?
Way to put me on the spot, sunshine. Jeez. I'm just petting the hedgehog.
Okay.
What?
She wants to say that agriculture is the better option here. I'll speak for her.
Cody, do you hear this? This nonsense?
I'm gonna go with forest though, because don't get me wrong, I love food. I don't deserve to be skinny. But nothing makes me happier than going on a hike through Lamoille or Tahoe.
You just like pretty things.
Exactly.
Come on, you got a 3-year-old to think about. Who likes to go play with the chickens? Who likes to go play with the animals? Who likes to eat? Who likes fruit? All of this is agriculture. Whether it's in your backyard or industrial production, Alex, it is everywhere. The chicken that you buy from the grocery store is on chicken farms. The turkey you buy at Thanksgiving is from a turkey farm. It is what it is, and we need it. And we need to make sure that every agriculture and every farm, whether it's industrial or family owned, is getting the proper water, soil, everything they need to be productive and actually help society and be functioning members.
But you would agree that we do need to conserve a percentage of what we have for other uses than agriculture? Or I'm just asking, I want to know, do you want to see all of the available land for housing, infrastructure, and agriculture, or would you agree with large swaths of land where we can just go out and hike for 3 days and not see a person? What's the cutoff here?
I would agree with that. In all honesty, I would say that I would be the one to vouch for agriculture development and forestry conservation, as well as a little bit of cutting it down in order to make room for more agriculture. Not getting rid of it completely, of course, but if there's certain areas that need to be developed for agricultural purposes, that needs to happen. I'm definitely not in favor of urbanization by any means. I understand that's popular. It's been a popular trend for the past 200 years of colonization and industrialization. But with that is the cities are almost to their capacities as they are now in the nation of the U.S. So I would like to see any kind of expansion be in the cities and be up. So
I was just going to ask about vertical growth space.
Gardens.
Rooftop gardens, any kind of vertical growth. So if you have your Walmarts and your Kohl's and your J.C. Penney's, build apartments on top of it. There is nothing wrong with expanding up. We really need to utilize the space that we have to our advantage. Taking away forestry is going to decrease your value of life as far as oxygen quality, happiness. I mean, there is something to be said about trees bringing happiness. So with that said, I would argue that agriculture is more important, needs to be preserved, needs to be expanded, needs to be the center of focus in the nation in order to house and feed everybody properly.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up is with forestry, conservation, and preservation, there's a slight difference in definition. So conservation is saving what we have, but using it in a way that's sustainable. You can replenish it. So if you mine, a mountainside somewhere down the road, you can remine it or use it for another purpose. Preservation, however, is leaving it like it is. No one can ever touch it.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's a valuable way to use the space.
Exactly. So
preservation, then, in the sense, now that I know how they're defined, I would say that's not useful. That's no different than the EPA and environmentalists and Nazis and hippies and
U.S. Agriculture Department and
everything
BLM
else.
Yeah.
I do not think that we need to not build a dam because of a lizard. I do not think that we cannot farm this land because of this rare worm. There are certain things that need to be overlooked for the greater good. I mean, can we sacrifice one to feed 100? Abby, thoughts?
Abby's got a face on. I don't quite agree with that statement.
So, I grew up in Elko, so I'm by no means a hippie. You mind that ground if that's what you feel like doing. But you're just gonna knock out an entire species?
That's true. I mean, relocation is an option, but if you take examples from rare species down South America, they only grow within 2-3 square miles, and that's where they're found. I don't know about species up here in North America, but if we're looking at a global scale, that's another issue that's happening. So the option is to fragment the area that we have into smaller pockets, so we can use the space wisely. But when we fragment large areas, the species within it can't migrate freely throughout migration corridors. The pronghorn antelope, I saw a documentary a while back that they have to jump so many fences just to get through their migration route, or highways. It's concrete barrier almost to them, because it's certain death to cross that at certain times of the day, and it cuts off migration routes. So my thing is, if we're going to optimize space, we have to map out migration paths. We have to study the ecosystem as a whole first, and then maximize its potential.
Like the land bridges that they've been using
Over the highways?
for the deer.
Yeah. That's perfect.
That makes me happy.
Or leaving a quarter-acre strip, on the edge of your farm field, or through it, and leave that as a corridor. Not having everything just monoculture, straight rows.
I'm not saying destroy everything in order to create a bridge or an agriculture development in my case, but I would definitely say that this one species that is so dire to the population, that if it cannot be relocated, and there's all these other circumstances to where this is the only place that it could possibly survive, then we as humans need to look at different options in order to expand or do anything that we are trying to do in that area. But I definitely don't think that we should
Keep going. You guys are good. Go for it. We're at like 12 minutes, so
you're giving me the
wrap it up.
up.
Yeah, we're doing a two-parter, people, so don't worry about it. The conversation will continue
tomorrow night. It'll get heated
with the panel. Oh, we're gonna get going, and the dogs are gonna join us too, because of
the dogs have been going for it.
Maddie.
Okay, here we go.
Let's
last
these questions.
Last point of the evening. So we have Tahoe not too far away from us in Reno, right? Beautiful, beautiful part of the world. So I would like to see Tahoe left how it is. Do you want to go farm Tahoe? Do you want to go plant some plants up there?
Agriculture is relative, of course. There's different areas of the nation that are better to farm in. But if Tahoe has the soil and has the resources and has everything that is needed for agriculture, I would say yes. With that said, I would not say flatten Tahoe and get rid of all of the trees.
I don't know if you could ever flatten Tahoe.
I don't think you could, but I'm not saying level Tahoe or even just cut down the mountains. I'm saying utilize that land in order to produce for everybody.
And that's also part of forestry conservation, because most people don't know, but when you conserve it, you also use it. So when we have these large pieces of timber, like Tahoe National Forest, El Dorado National Forest, companies can go in and pull a permit and either mine for minerals or cut the timber down and use that. So forestry conservation is also allowing us to use certain items, or acquire certain necessities that we need: timber, minerals, metals, whatever you need. But with agriculture, it's a give and take between feeding ourselves and continuing to grow. So, it's a very interesting, heated subject between Maddie and I, and Abby, our wonderful, unbiased commentator. So we're going to wrap it up tonight because we're pushing 15 minutes and I don't want to go too far, but we will continue tomorrow night with episode, I believe, 5, if I'm not mistaken. Maddie will be back. Of course. Maddie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I will see you tomorrow night. Abby, thank you again.
Tomorrow night, it's a date.
There you go.
Make me third wheel.
You know what? We'll add on to the conversation in a little bit. Maybe we'll throw in some other. We'll get into hiking and the recreational uses of the property. How's that sound?
Game.
All right. Thank you so much for listening again, and we will see you all tomorrow. We just recorded a 15-minute podcast.
I feel like